At just 8 years old, Ronaldinho experienced something inside his own home that would change his family forever. But almost nobody talks about what happened next. Ronaldinho was born Ronaldo de Assis Moreira in Porto Alegre, Brazil, in 1980. Long before the famous smile, the Barcelona shirt, and the World Cup, he was simply a young boy growing up in a family where football was already part of everyday life. His father, João Moreira, had been a footballer himself before working at a shipyard. His mother, Miguelina, worked hard to support the family. Ronaldinho also had an older brother named Roberto Assis, and Roberto was already showing serious football talent. Football became more than a hobby in the Assis household. It was becoming the family's biggest opportunity. Roberto eventually joined Grêmio, one of Brazil's major clubs. His progress meant the family could move into a better home. For Ronaldinho, this was a completely different environment from what he had known before. There was more space, more comfort, and something that immediately stood out to a young boy: a swimming pool. For the family, the new home represented progress. Roberto's football career was developing, the family had more stability, and Ronaldinho was growing up surrounded by the game he loved. But in January 1989, the family's happiness was shattered. Ronaldinho's father suffered a fatal medical emergency at the family home involving the swimming pool. He was taken for medical treatment, but he died. Ronaldinho was only 8 years old. That single event meant that one of the most important people in his childhood was suddenly gone. His father would never watch him become a professional footballer. He would never see Ronaldinho play for Brazil. He would never see him win the World Cup. He would never watch him lift the Champions League trophy with Barcelona. And he would never see his son become one of the most famous footballers on earth. But there was something else that made the loss especially important to Ronaldinho's future. His father had been part of his football upbringing. João had played football and encouraged his son's relationship with the game. So Ronaldinho didn't just lose his father. He lost one of the people who had helped shape his earliest connection with football. But after the tragedy, another family relationship became even more important. Roberto Assis was Ronaldinho's older brother, but his role in Ronaldinho's life would eventually become much bigger than that. Roberto was already pursuing his own football career, but he also became an important figure for his younger brother. He helped guide Ronaldinho as he developed as a player. He supported him as his talent became impossible to ignore. And eventually, Roberto would become Ronaldinho's manager. That relationship would continue for decades. Ronaldinho's football career began developing rapidly. As a teenager, he became known in Brazil for his extraordinary technical ability and his unusual confidence with the ball. He eventually broke into professional football with Grêmio. Then came the Brazilian national team. Ronaldinho's performances earned him international attention, and in 1999 he won the Copa America with Brazil. 3 years later, he was part of the Brazilian team that won the 2002 World Cup. The boy who had lost his father at 8 was now a world champion. But the biggest chapters were still ahead. Ronaldinho moved to Europe and eventually joined Barcelona in 2003. Barcelona was struggling when he arrived, but Ronaldinho quickly became the face of the club's revival. He won the FIFA World Player of the Year award, helped Barcelona win La Liga, and in 2006 helped the club win the Champions League. His performance against Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabéu became one of the defining moments of his career. Ronaldinho scored twice, Barcelona won 3-0, and the Real Madrid supporters stood up and applauded him. That was how far he had come. But behind those incredible moments was a story that began much earlier, when he was still a child trying to understand why his father was suddenly no longer there. Ronaldinho became famous for his smile. He played football with an almost childlike happiness. He laughed, celebrated, danced, and appeared to enjoy every moment on the pitch. Millions of people saw the entertainer, but they didn't see the 8-year-old who had already experienced a devastating loss. His father's influence remained part of the family story, and so did Roberto's role in Ronaldinho's life. Roberto wasn't just there during Ronaldinho's childhood. He eventually became the person handling his professional career. That makes their relationship one of the most important parts of Ronaldinho's journey. Without his father's early influence, without his brother's support, and without the family's determination after tragedy, Ronaldinho's path could have looked very different. There is also a deeply personal connection between Ronaldinho and his father that continued into the next generation. Ronaldinho later gave his son the name João, carrying the name of the father he lost as a child into his own family. So although João Moreira never lived long enough to see Ronaldinho become a superstar, his name remained connected to him. Ronaldinho's career would eventually include some of the biggest trophies in football. He became a World Cup winner, a Champions League winner, a FIFA World Player of the Year, and one of the most loved footballers of his generation. But his story didn't begin with a packed stadium or a famous trophy. It began with a family trying to build a better life, a father who loved football, an older brother who became a guide, and a tragedy that arrived when Ronaldinho was still only 8 years old. And perhaps the most interesting part is what happened to Ronaldinho's relationship with Roberto after they both became successful, because the same brother who helped him through childhood would eventually become the man standing beside him when Ronaldinho became a global superstar.